Shang Fulin said at the beginning of this year that he would like to launch the GEM in the first half of this year 2008, creating the solicitation of opinions on the industry board rules also ended on March 31st. The market is speculating on the timing of the launch of the Qi Next, and rumors such as 60 to 70 companies will be listed in the first batch as early as June are constantly circulating. Thousands of Shenzhen enterprises are preparing while Zhejiang and Wenchu enterprises are waiting for the opportunity to emerge. The Qi Next is in full swing. However, relevant surveys have shown that more than half of investors believe that the short-term launch of the Qi Next board still needs to be demonstrated. Some venture capitalists continue to wait and see due to unclear policies, while many experts are concerned that the Qi Next board will not succeed. So how to choose the Qi Next board and what trends it will have in the future undoubtedly become the focus of attention. Firstly, there are two completely opposite trends in the actual background of the launch of the Qi Next. On the one hand, educational essentialism, 7, and the borderless wave is pulling away from the original framework foundation. Financial innovation subverts and breaks through the boundary through continuous restructuring, grafting, and integration of various elements, so that capital operations appear convergence of classification. Banks are constantly infiltrating capital, and mixed operations have made traditional banks more and more like investment banks. Investment banks have extended their tentacles to private equity and mutated, and private equity has become more and more compliant and transformed into a company. Companies are focused on going public and gradually capitalizing while capital sniffs the bloody profits and continues to financialize. It can be seen that the main boundaries of the market have become blurred, forcing the market to continuously integrate. On the other hand, under the pressure of the situation, China's reform has to be classified and requires the construction of a multi-level capital market. Firstly, improve institutional mechanisms, increase people's property income, and secondly, prepare multiple flood outlets for excess liquidity. Only when the stock market rises can we retain funds, and when it falls can we gently close positions. Nowadays, we need to maintain the popularity of funds while also hiding hidden dangers. Perhaps only by spoiling one and creating another can liquidity be transformed into invisibility through stock market classification and a combination of bull and bear measures. So reality guides the subject to the biggest internal paradox of the growth enterprise market is that policies guide the market to split. Secondly, before the launch of the Qi Next there are already 3 types of adverse genes that have been homogenized. One thing, entrepreneurship and innovation. The skin is not yet perfect. And how will the hair of the growth enterprise market be attached? Domestic enterprises have insufficient high-tech components, loose innovation mechanisms, and insufficient entrepreneurial scale. Hungry small and medium-sized enterprises are likely to use various means such as borrowing foreign technology to flaunt their new identity. Once entrepreneurship and innovation loses its evaluation criteria and becomes a hype concept, the Qi Next board will also away from its original meaning. Secondly, the high risk of entrepreneurial failure and the high return of venture capital exit make the Qi Next board itself implicit in the incentive mechanism of speculation. The size of companies listed on the Qi Next board is small. Once their stock prices are manipulated, they become cheap shell resources, grow or even transform, and maintaining their entrepreneurial and innovative connotations is not something that can be controlled solely by their own power. Thirdly, although the boundaries of Th. E-plate are clearly defined. The actual operation is vague. Today, a quarter of the small and medium-sized board companies have a background in venture capital. Excluding the realized funds of venture capital, the total market value of the small and medium-sized board shares held by venture capital companies is as high as 52.1 billion yuan. This makes it possible that even if the Qi Next board is launched at a high standard, it may still be no different from the small and medium-sized board. Moreover, the market has expected that enterprises that meet the listing requirements of the small and medium-sized board may eventually be assigned to the Qi Next board for listing due to the launch of the Qi Next board. These three evil genes limit the selection path of the Qi Next board, which may force it to converge with the SME board and even the main board. And this possibility may ignite the diffusion mechanism of evil genes in the following issues. Qi Next encourages innovation. Industrial innovation is about letting companies with projects but no money go public. But the bottom line of ensuring a profit of 2 years and 10 million yuan is clearly in line with the original intention of the social angel on the Qi Next board. Why do companies with money and profits need to go public? Although the requirements for listing on the growth enterprise market GEM are relaxed compared to those on the small and medium-sized market SME, such as an increase in the proportion of intangible assets, they are still relatively high compared to IM in the UK, which does not set a minimum listing standard, and the Hong Kong GEM, which does not have a profit standard. The Qi Next is aimed at enterprises with 5 new and 3 high: new economy, new technology, new materials, new energy, new services, high tech, high growth, and high service. But the high-tech standard is difficult to define, which may make traditional enterprises fish in troubled waters. The growth enterprise market GEM is a normal exit channel for VC and PE, but its own exit mechanism is lacking, undoubtedly imposing high risks of entrepreneurship and innovation on investors without leaving a way out. GEM requires sponsors to make special suggestions on enterprise growth and independent innovation, and expand the responsibility and duration of sponsors. But the commission is small and the risk is high, and the lack of incentive mechanism may lead to moral hazard. The growth enterprise market has set up a special issuance and review committee, and the issuance system still continues the administrative approval system. L2. The supervision is stricter. It may also cause inefficiencies in issuance and black screen listing. The information disclosure requirements of the Qi Next board are high, and it has been explicitly added to the website information and announced on the same day. However, the information disclosure system is not yet perfect, and its timeliness and accuracy are still difficult to guarantee. The Qi Next board clearly has a policy-oriented Chinese characteristic, with the positioning followed by a market, or it may leave an imprint of a policy market under policy guidance and thinking inertia. Old problems on the main board, such as excessive financial resources leaning towards big cities, large projects, and large enterprises, as well as casino-like stock markets, may be replicated on the Qi Next board. If these 9 major issues are not handled properly, the probability of the Qi Next choosing the wrong direction and taking the wrong path will greatly increase. Therefore, based on the principles of crossing the river by feeling the stones and case law, it is reasonable to overcome them in the design of Qi Next. Although there are still many issues with the Qi Next board, its launch has become a foregone conclusion. Firstly, the public opinion of the prince is too long and the feudal lords are accumulating extreme deployment, creating momentum for the launch of the Qi Next. NG, Vice Chairman of the China Securities Regulatory Commission, stated that the Qi Next board is everything ready and has little impact on the main board. It relies on measures such as strengthening supervision to ensure its successful launch. Various regions have also actively responded and encouraged innovative enterprises to go public, such as Guangzhou and Wuhan, which have provided funding of over 2 million yuan for listing on the Qi Next board. Secondly, most small and medium-sized enterprises and venture capitalists are eagerly anticipating it, and even street companies are going private in order to gain a share. 55 listed companies have varying degrees of equity participation in venture capitalists, and most PE strategies are optimistic about pre-IPO enterprises. From this, it can be seen that the launch of the Qi Next is imminent, but in the future, it may embark on a path of repeating the same mistakes. Currently, the focus of policy considerations is on how to reduce the replication of old problems in the capital market by the China XT, but it is difficult to completely away from these symptoms. Therefore, the launch of the Qi Next may fall into the awkward situation of attracting money and creating wealth. This is a helpless choice. On the other hand, the main board and small and medium-sized boards are already plagued by persistent problems, with weak reforms and no shortcuts. Therefore, hope may be focused on the Qi Next board, which has not yet been born but has already carried the mark of reform experimentation. From this, it can be seen that the launch of the Qi Next is imminent, but in the future, it may embark on a path of repeating the same mistakes. Currently, the focus of policy considerations is on how to reduce the replication of old problems in the capital market by the China XT, but it is difficult to completely away from these symptoms. Therefore, the launch of the Qi Next may fall into the awkward situation of attracting money and creating wealth. This is a helpless choice. On the other hand, the main board and small and medium-sized boards are already plagued by persistent problems, with weak reforms and no shortcuts. Therefore, hope may be focused on the Qi Next board, which has not yet been born but has already carried the mark of reform experimentation.